Hello everyone, this is Ardwick and I welcome you back to the Kerbal space program. In the last episode, as you can see, we have for the first time landed on the moon itself and can gaze upon the beautiful sky above us. But now we've collected many scientific data points and we must return to the planet. Before we do though, let's assess our current situation. What I want to do first is actually, just in case we can take this entire capsule with us back to the planet, I am now going to gather all of these science... Oopsie daisy. Careful now. I'm going to collect all the science that we've currently gathered here. About to turn on our jetpack and, careful now. I'm going to try to land us land us on the, on one of our fuel canisters here. Because we want to recollect our data. Whoa, boy. Now, here's the thing. If you do not ready yourselves for this sort of stuff, you will be punished. Wow, look at this. This is just from a long jump. But anyway, that being said, we do need to get back on board our spacecraft. Whoops. This might be trickier than I thought, actually. Didn't grab it. I'm sorry. I'm not used to these differences in the gravity here. Let's see if I grab it and press the F key when we are close enough. There we go. So we're going to collect the data from here. It'll render it useless, but it's got nowhere else to go. Collect that, and collect this. Also, I believe we might be able to reach the... let's see. Can I reach the thermometer? Yeah, we can do that. Okay, and the barometer? We didn't actually take any measurements with the barometer, so it doesn't even matter. Anyway, we have now gathered all of our science that we have taken on this mission thus far. Real quick, I'm going to make sure that Kerbin, Bill, Kerbin, have all of the experiments on our person. Because that way, if this device does not make it back to the planet, we will still have it on ourselves, and we can get back using one of our lifeboats. So, let's get back on board real quick so we can assess our current situation. I'm going to quick save, because we have just recently obtained all the data. Our resources for our fuel are very limited. We might be able to put ourselves in orbit, but I actually have to admit I kind of doubt our ability to get back to Earth. If we cannot return to Earth from where we currently are, we do have a couple of options. I can either stay here and have one of our lifeboats safely bring us back, or I can put ourselves into orbit, use one of the lifeboats, get rendezvous with it, leave our module right here, get in one of the lifeboats, and then leave orbit to go back to the planet. So we have options, but first we need to see what's actually possible. My first plan of action is to attempt to leave the planet as we are right now. So I'm going to quick save. I am going to make sure we are completely throttled up, and we are going to lift off. I am going to aim towards the horizon right away, because we should be able to put ourselves in orbit very easily. And right away it looks like we do have a problem, actually, because I don't think we have enough fuel in our machine to get back. We might not even have enough fuel to put ourselves into orbit, to be quite honest. So let's quickly at least see if we can achieve orbit. That will at least give us the option to do either or. Okay, we're nearly out of fuel, and we are totally out. Let's see what our... Oh my gosh! I should have been paying more attention to this. We might have been able to actually put ourselves into a steady orbit. Let me try that again. Alright, so it turns out, after doing a little bit of research, that we actually are fully capable of returning to planet Kerbin with just what we have right now. We don't even need to use the lifeboats. So, in order to do that, we will have to achieve an orbit. I was having difficulty with it earlier, but it turns out that actually, since we don't need to get nearly as high as we did before, I just have to go horizontal sooner. So, let's give it a shot, shall we? So really, right now, even now, I should start aiming to the side here. Like really, really aim to the side. Don't worry about aiming too far, because as long as you're above like 10 kilometers, you should be fine. Or rather, 100 kilometers. No, 10. 10 is even good. You don't want to go above 20 because you would rather spend that effort going horizontal rather than vertical, because, well, we don't need to go that high off to achieve orbit. So if I aim it down like this, aim it at about roughly 20, 30 or so. All we need to do is achieve an orbit that's 20 on both sides, which is entirely doable. I'm going to aim down a little bit. And there we go. 7,000. Well, I've seen worse, to be honest. Let's see. Well, first of all, it would be nice to get rid of... let's take a look here. So, it's risky, but I think we can still do it from the orbit that we have right now. Unfortunately, our lander right here, although I would have liked to have kept it all the way through the journey, is no longer going to be useful to us. So instead, I am going to decouple it. And I suppose, even though it's historic, we'll have to throw it away. We might be able to put it in a stable orbit, and then it can survive for a long time here on the moon. Let's give that a try real quick. A little ceremonious push away. There we go. Say farewell to our lander, everyone. It served us well, but we have a mission to go back to Kerbin. So, you might be wondering how on earth we're supposed to get back without any thrust. Well, as it turns out, we actually do have a little bit of thrust left. Remember those precision thrusters I told you about earlier? These little RCS modules? Well, RCS stands for Reaction Control System, and as it turns out, if we use it the correct way, we can actually make it back to Kerbal. You'd be surprised how much thrust these can give you. First, let's plan a trajectory. But it won't let me do that without actually checking out something else real quick. So actually, before we do that, I'm going to throttle all the way back down. And let's take a quick look at where our lander is going to go. Actually, the reason why I'm doing this is because it sort of acts kind of funny. In order for me to set up a node, I have to quickly go to something else to see what it looks like. Let's check our debris, actually. Orbiting the Armstrong Lander 1 debris. There we go. Let's see if this is going to hit the ground, because I am curious to know what the fate of our lander is going to be. It's a similar orbit to what we're dealing with right now. It might stay up here, actually. I'll check on it later and see how it's doing once we get back to Kerbal. Oh, that's cool, actually. We can still see where we were a moment ago. Anyway, we need to prepare ourselves for our journey back. So let's go back to our lander and use the RCS to get home. Let's see, that's the Lander 1 orbiting the moon. We want this guy. Right, so now that we've done that little trick, we can in fact plan a trajectory to get home. First, let's kill the node that we had before. For some reason, it wouldn't let me access any other node until now, because I think of the way it's set up, it thinks it still want to use the thruster. I shouldn't have done that. Let's see. 3. There we go. Okay, so what I want to do is get back to the Armstrong lander and give it a maneuver. Specifically, right about here-ish. I think we're gonna miss this this opportunity to go. But as you can see, if I do a maneuver forward, we can actually put ourselves back in Kerbal orbit. Now, if I give it a bit of thrust here, we want to see if we can get it to aim approximately below 70 kilometers, which might not be as hard as it sounds, actually. Maybe if we aim it a bit differently. See, we're in a stable orbit right now. We might not be for long, but so far we are, and that should give us enough time to make it back to Kerbal. Right, so if I do a little bit of retrograde work right here, that'll put us at 46 kilometers, which is within the atmosphere. So all we have to do is thrust at the right moment, and we can make it back. Oh, there's our lander debris, or rather our lander period. I think it's actually spiraling. Oh, actually, you know what? I think I left the lights on. Well, it's got solar energy, so it shouldn't run out for a while. Anyway, in order to get back, I want to position ourselves towards the node here. In order to get ourselves back, we want to use the RCS thrusters. In order to activate RCS, we want to hit the R key. You'll notice at the bottom where the nav wheel is, that little green button letting on and off. If it's turned on, that means RCS is on, which means RCS controls are now available. We can check how much fuel we have by either right-clicking the fuel tank right here, which is at 100, or we can use we can click our resources and keep that window open. In order to thrust with these RCR modules, we would hit the H key. The H key will propel us forward, propel us in whatever direction we are currently facing, just like the thrusters. So if we push the H key, that would be enough to get us back. Believe it or not. But first we need to complete an orbit around so we can reach our node in the correct time. And unfortunately that means taking a risk, because at this stage that might actually involve getting rather dangerously close to the moon. Because remember that our periapsis is only at about 7 kilometers above the moon. So in order to make it there, we have to dip to treacherous distances. Slowly going up, and then we're going to fall back down a little bit. It's actually rather ominous being in darkness like this, I must say. Alright, approaching 15 minutes and counting. I'm going to keep an eye on that speed timer. There we go, we've got the sun, so our electrical systems are being recharged because of our solar panels. Oh, actually, you know what? I don't think we're currently getting any power right now because of, actually, hold on. Can I not do anything right now? Am I stuck? Oh, it's because I'm in high speed. I can only adjust myself when I'm in normal speed. You see those bursts of air shooting out of the thruster right there? Those were the RCS. We currently have it adjusted, and you can see how precisely we can position ourselves with it too. So nearly there, we are ascending. So I don't think we're in any more danger of hitting the mountains right now. Although I might have to eat my words shortly. At about 2 minutes to the T-minus there, I am going to... Oh my gosh, look at these mountains. This is ominous, actually. But then again, so many things to explore. And we can, in fact, confidently use the lunar lander system to get here and back. So we do have a system that lets us get here. Unfortunately, we were only able to carry one Science Junior experiment with us at a time, but we might be able to improve upon the design in later missions. If any of you guys have any good ways, any suggestions on how to do that, please let me know. Okay, I'm going to speed up time a little bit. We're flying over our flag site. Our flag site right down there. When we get to about 2 minutes, I'm going to fire up the RCS. Well, actually, I'll wait. No, I'll fire it up once we hit the 1 minute mark. Just because it will get a little bit more altitude, and that'll make me feel more comfortable about trying to launch. There is our Earthrise again, a similar view to what we had before. Before we commit to the maneuver, though, I'm just going to quick save. Just because if this doesn't work, we'll want to have a backup plan. I'm not concerned about making it back. The only thing I'm concerned about is hitting the mountains on the way out. Okay, so now we are going to commit to the thrust. By holding the H key, we are now thrusting. In fact, this will actually be a little bit easier to do if we go to the orbital map and do it now. You'll notice that we're actually accelerating. We're going higher up, so we're no longer at risk of hitting the ground. And in fact, our apoasis is actually steadily climbing. On the top of the screen, you'll see our monopropellant is actually very, very slowly going down. It's going much slower than I thought it would. So, in fact, if we are diligent, we should make it back to Kerbin with time to spare. All I have to do is hold on to the H key and let the thrust work its way back. Oh, our periapsis is actually falling a tad bit. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. If it falls too far, I'll have to let go of the key. Just because that is actually worrying me a little bit. So far, we don't seem to be at risk of danger, though. But I'm going to keep an eye on it. As our apoasis moves further out still... you know what? Yeah, this is really dangerous. Oh, hold on now. Look at that. We have achieved a lunar escape trajectory. And if we go on this path, we'll eventually get that close to Kerbin. Let's see how safe we are right now. Oh, actually, you know what? Maybe if I wait for a few seconds and then commit to the burn again, we will achieve the thrust that we need without crashing into anything. Let me go back to the orbiting map again. I'm going to hit the H button. Get us below that point. Actually, before I do, let me just check up on our system here again. We're going to come really close to the planet by the looks of things. But I think we can make it if we stay diligent. Let's see. Hold H until we go to about there. I'll have to be on and off about this, I think. Oh, look at that. Our periapsis isn't here anymore. We are currently on an escape trajectory. We are still aiming down, but we are going to escape if we continue at this route. So I'm going to continue to hit H, bring us down further still. I'm going to keep an eye here. Yeah, we're still doing good. Okay. And almost... there. That'll put us in the atmosphere. So, believe it or not, even though how it looks like we're going right now, if we continue without me doing anything else to the system, we are going to land back on Kerbin. All I have to do is fast forward, and we will achieve a landing. So, that's all there really is to it. So, it turns out that we actually didn't need any of our lifeboats up here on the... oh, look at that. Way out there, that's our lander that we left behind. So, it turns out we didn't actually need any of the lifeboats that we had set up here earlier. But the good news is that we can now leave those here, so that if anyone or if anything else needs to leave this place, they will be within their full capacity to do so. So the lifeboats will continue to be here as a system in case we ever need them again in the future. Although they might not be necessary at this stage, given how efficiently we were able to leave the system. I would be tempted, admittedly, to use our lifeboats for other purposes, like sending them off to deep space or maybe to another planet. But the problem with that is that because they were lifeboats, I didn't add any extra scientific experiments onto them, so they're really the only purpose they serve right now is to serve as actual lifeboats that'll bring you back to the planet if necessary. So let's see. Let's take a look at that. Okay, we are now in orbit around Kerbin, and continuing on this orbit, we would make it back safely. In fact, I believe yeah, we're gonna make it back safely. All I have to do is fast forward, and we'll get there. So all in all, scary. Admittedly, I will admit this was a very scary mission to conduct, especially considering I wasn't sure if we were going to make it. But we did! Bill Kerbin is the first one in space, not Jebediah, because I believe I accidentally switched Jebediah out at the time. Let's see. Now, I want to actually land here, and our apoasis is not going down, so we should still be poised for landing, but even so... Ooh, look at that! Do you see that down there? That's a river. I don't think we've ever tried landing there before. I'm going to see if we can adjust our trajectory to actually land at the river. Given our current speed, it's probably impossible, but it might be fun to try at least. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna make it. We're going way too fast. Oh well. We can still definitely land somewhere interesting. I'm not sure if we've been over here before. I haven't planted any flags over here before, so maybe this is a new continent altogether. Periapsis is going down fast. We're gonna land in this landmass, that's for sure, at least. I'm still holding H on the, Actually, you know what? I'm gonna stop using the... I was holding H that whole time in the hopes that we would be able to land on the river, but since we're not, I think we're just going to try to land on normal ground. This is probably just grasslands. Let's take a look at how we're doing right now. Not bad, not bad. I'm going to keep holding H to see if I can continue to control our trajectory. Maybe I can land us in that river, or that pond over there. I don't think we're going to make it. Yeah, we've definitely lost our chance to get to it there. Oh well. Well, ooh, yeah, we're definitely landing now. So here we go. We are poised for a landing. I am going to turn off the RCS, just in case we need it for any other last-minute course correction. When we get to a certain height, I am going to deploy the parachute, and then our mission will be over. So that should be exciting, and then from there we can pick some new technologies. I wonder how much science we've actually earned from having done all this. I'll confess, I was actually legitimately worried for Bill. I wasn't sure if we can get him home or not, but it looks like we were just about able to accomplish a safe landing. In fact, I'm going to deploy the parachute now. There we go. And from here on, we should have a smooth landing back on the surface. We should land at about 8 or so meters per second. Not quick saving yet, because just in case this for some reason does not work, I want to be ready to prepare ourselves for... There we go. Oh, 7 meters per second, even better. I think it's because we're carrying a slightly lighter load than we usually do. Now what the heck, no, it's not gonna work. Barometer. Anything from you? Nope. Crew report? Oh. Oh, we're in the Highlands. I don't think we've been here before. Cool. Slightly more data. It's a shame I didn't have any of my other experiments here. Although I could do a quick barometer and thermometer experiment here, so it's not a complete loss. I guess if you have really light experiments like the thermometer and the barometer, it's good to put them on your landing capsule, just in case you wind up landing somewhere you didn't intend to land, which is a new place. So, good to know for the future. Granted, if you recall, last time we did this, when we had a booster at the bottom, it exploded when we hit the ground, so there's no telling what will happen now. Oh, we did it! We landed! I'm going to extend our ladder just because I can. And now we are back home. Let's do some thermometer. 3.6. On the temperature, 2.4. Nice. Can we do a crew report? No, I don't want to overwrite anything. But I can perform a quick EVA, just like usual. And with our ladder here, there's no real danger of falling or anything. I'm going to conduct the EVA report right here for 5.6 science. I'm going to store and then take all the data. There we go. Going to get back on board, quickly do another crew report here to give us an additional 1.5 science. That's nothing compared to our hundreds of science that we've already obtained. But we can do one last thing, which is conduct a quick EVA right here on the ground for 2.4 science. We've already done that. We can take a surface sample for 9 science. Nice! Every little bit counts, don't forget that. And we can plant a flag to commemorate our occasion, just because this is quite possibly the biggest success we've had so far in this entire game. Our first return from another world. Alright! And that's everything. Let's get back inside and officially call it a wrap. We did it! Let's look at our yield. 432.9 science. That is a huge, unprecedented amount of science. We never earned that much in a single mission before. So that's excellent. We can definitely take some spoils here from this tree here. As per usual, it's generally a good idea to get more things that can give you science. So I'm going to give myself advanced electrics to give ourselves some better solar panels and some new battery packs here. Those will let our machinery last longer and conduct more science. And I'm also going to go for electrics too, because electrics give us a much better satellite dish, which will allow us to communicate at much greater distances with higher scientific yield. And I'm going to get a seismometer, which is basically something that will allow us to measure. You know how like there are earthquakes, and you can measure the amount of an earthquake, or the tremors per an earthquake. Well, actually, hold on. Seismic activity. Yes. It'll still function while flying, too, so we can use it elsewhere. We will take that, because every little bit of science helps. And we still have 119 science left. We can get one more thing over here, too. So we can get heavy rockets, advanced construction, advanced flight control. We can get a new cockpit, and a new satellite piece, too. I'm actually going to go for the... I'm going to go for the new satellite piece, actually. Because that might give us some more options, although I'm not entirely sure what those would be. So anyway, that is the end of today's experiment, which was a wonderful success. In the next mission, I believe we're going to try visiting the other moon that's in this area as well. But until then, until we actually do that experiment, this is Ardwick. Stay tuned, and good night.